What's up, boners? Today we are going through my whole collection, so we are looking at all these skulls. I have multiple shelves full, so we're going to start with this shelf here. So I have a beaver skull and a muskrat and a North American porcupine and two cottontail rabbits and then a jackrabbit, then a hamster and a montane vole and a giant flying squirrel, and then a mouse. Then I have a cow skull without the bottom jaw and a second cow skull without a bottom jaw. This one is larger. Then I have a juvenile Nile crocodile skull and an American alligator skull with some teeth that fell out. Then I have three sizes of common snapping turtle skulls. This one is a newborn baby. This one is a medium-sized adult. And then this one is a pretty much maximum-sized adult. It's missing the bottom jaw. This one's about 5 inches long, pretty large. And then I have a painted turtle skull and a red-eared slider skull, and then a house sparrow skull with a dent in it, so you can tell that's how it died, and a chukar, which is a type of partridge, and then a turkey. Then onto this shelf I have two Plains leopard frog skulls and a Great Plains toad skull with part of the skeleton, and an American bullfrog skull, and a cricket frog skull, and a second cricket frog skull with some vertebrae, and then a leopard frog skeleton, a really young leopard frog. Then I have white-tip reef shark jaws from a very small individual, and cuphead skate jaws. Then I have a short-beaked common dolphin juvenile skull. And then I have the rest of these on the shelf are all carnivorans. So raccoon skull and striped skunk. I have this top one here, and then the full skull with the bottom jaw. Then eastern spotted skunk and giant otter, North American river otter, three minks. These two are female and this one is a male. You can tell by the size of the sagittal crest here. Then a raccoon dog, also called a tanuki, and a red fox, an Arctic fox, and a pine marten. This one fell over because it's extra tall. A long-tailed weasel skull, then a coyote skull, and a serval skull. And then this one is marked as gray wolf because that is the species. However, this is a border collie, and it was shot in the head twice. Then a domestic cat and a mountain lion. The next shelf we have all catfish. So we have a flathead, we have some channel catfish parts back here. Then we have a black bullhead skull that is missing some of the parts. Then we have a baby Plecostomus skeleton and a channel catfish skull and a yellow bullhead catfish skeleton. So that's the full skeleton there. And then an African sharp-toothed catfish skull. And this one has the fin spines are right here. Then a gigantic blue catfish skull. This one would have been from a 4.5-foot individual. And then a black bullhead catfish skull. This is from an extremely large individual. Then I have one set of white-tailed deer antlers, two different antlers from the same individual, and they're sheds, which is indicated by the growth there for all of you people who don't know, but I'm sure almost everyone does. Then this one down here is all fish on this shelf. So a houndfish, which their bones are supposed to be blue like this, bluish green, yellow. They're really cool like that. So it's a really interesting species because, yeah, their bones are bluish. So pretty cool. A European conger eel. A paddlefish. Really big skull, that's 2 feet long. Then a Florida gar, a large head hairtail, 2 gizzard shads, a long nose gar, another blue catfish, this one with the fins taxidermied and everything intact, including the gill arches. So it is really cool. You can actually see everything in there. Tooth pads on the roof of the mouth, the teeth in the front of the mouth, on the top jaw. So yeah, really cool. And then all the gill arches are intact in there. So it's a really cool one. Then I have a monkfish of that exact species. I forget the exact species common name, but it's a type of monkfish. Then a pike perch, which is also called a zander, a common carp, and a great barracuda. Then I have my large mammal shelf with 2 white-tailed deer skulls. One is in much better condition than the other. However, I found both of them and on both at my uncle's property, so kind of cool how I found 2 of them. But yeah, the condition is wildly different. But I didn't do anything to these; they're just nature cleaned. Then Reeves muntjac, little dragon skull, got the antlers that look like horns and the little fangs. This one is a juvenile, so the teeth are still growing in. The little incisors in the front. Then a black bear that is missing the bottom jaw and the canine teeth. And then a wild boar, a really massive juvenile. And then a domestic goat with the horns, and an elk female. Then a domestic sheep, and this one is 160 years old, and I dug it up along with this 160-year-old cow skull, and they're both on my college campus, dating to the farming era, which is when they were buried, so about 160 years ago, a little over that, but that's pretty cool. Then I have an Elliott short-tailed shrew skull along with its skeleton. And these guys have little orangish teeth, which is really cool. Then I have a vervet monkey skull. This one is a female. Then I have sheds here again, only one though this time. But this one has been chewed on by rodents. You can see all of that damage there, which is really cool to look at. All of these have little chew marks on them, which is, yeah, really cool to look at because it just, like, the rodents will chew on them to get calcium. So it's really interesting, but that's what happened here. Then I have a African lion skull. And then Uri the Urocyon, also called a gray fox. That's the scientific name, Urocyon cinero-argenteus. So this one has the complete skeleton. And there's the skull. Then I have a fossilized bison skull, although the front is missing. And then a humongous grass carp skull. That thing is over 8 inches long. You can see it compared to the bison, which is just crazy. And then I have my other fossilized bison skull, which is a little bit smaller and more broken. And then I have a hedgehog skull and a Virginia possum skull. And a 9-banded armadillo skull. And then my emu egg. Then I have an Asian water monitor skull and a Komodo dragon skull. Then I have a savanna monitor skull and I have a Zaredni's worm lizard skull. And then I have some skeletons. I have a maned forest lizard, which is this long guy here. And then there's the skull. Then I have a prairie lizard with a tiny little skull, and the eye rings are intact there. Then I have a crested gecko skeleton. This was my pet who died. His name was Maddox. And there he is. There's his skull with the eye rings. And then a toki gecko. There's its skull. Then I have my snake shelf. So I have a diamondback rattlesnake. I have a copperhead. I have an Indian cobra. I have an unknown species of snake. I'm assuming it's a boa, though I don't know for sure. Although I do know it's non-venomous, even though it does have really large fangs in the front. Then I have a garter snake skull and a replica titanoboa skull. And then I have a gaboon viper skull and a Central American and South American bushmaster skull. Then I have my shark jaws. So I have scalloped hammerhead shark jaws and black spot shark jaws, silky shark jaws, big nose shark jaws, gray smoothhound shark jaws. These guys have really flat teeth. They're not sharp at all. Then I have 4 sets of coral cat shark jaws, spot tail shark jaws, blue shark jaws, black tip shark jaws, spinner shark jaws, short fin mako shark jaws, spiny dogfish jaws, big eye thresher shark jaws, dusky shark jaws, and that is the end of the jaws. And then I have my excess long-nosed gar skulls of various sizes, and then a coral cat shark taxidermy, and an arapaima fin, and then a little pufferfish. Then I have some real taxidermied fish. All of these are real. So a bluegill, and a channel catfish, and a yellow perch, and a long-nosed gar, then a walleye, and a muskie, and a smallmouth bass. Then I have a sea robin, and a dog or chum salmon. Then I have a magpie, a Eurasian magpie, and another Eurasian magpie, and another. Then I have Yuri the Eurocyan's skin. Then I have a bowfin. Then I have male and female atlas moths. And then I have a giant cicada, a giant water bug, and a harlequin longhorn beetle. Then I have Chris Pratt's autograph, and I have Chris Pratt and Martin Pratt's autographs. Then I have these giant fossil plates with a bunch of shells and stuff in there. Here's the other one. Then I have a little butterfly in a box. Then I have my other butterfly. And two different kinds of starfish. Then I have a deer jaw, part of a cow jaw, another deer jaw, a whole bunch of pieces of cow and horse, and all sorts of other animal bones. Then a bag of fossils. Then I have some more fragments of bone. Most of these are several hundred years old. Some teeth and cool rocks. Some more bones and cool rocks. And then down here we have some fossils and rock things. And then here I have some random chunks of things. Most of them are probably not fossils, but they were cool. Then down here I have a giant oyster shell, and then I have some fossilized plant. I'm assuming there's something there. There's the other half. A fossilized Meganora wing, which is really cool. And then some various other things. One in the corner is not a fossil, but it was kind of cool. Some shells back there, and some various other formations, some crinoids and things. Then I have a bunch of things here. So I have a megalodon tooth, and then a cool ammonite, and then a mosasaur tooth with the root, a giant replica great white shark tooth. Then I have some Nidia. Then I have part of a rodent jaw, some small shark teeth, some ammonites, some catfish teeth, then some otoliths, which are the ear bones of fish, some vertebrae from a fish, then a little trilobite, and some shells. Then I have a hermit crab in here. And then in this one, I have one of those red and black jumping spiders. With the light on it seems all red, but it has some black. Then I have a prairie lizard, and a lion snake, a really tiny lion snake. Then I have my wisdom teeth in that little box, but they're kind of gross, so they pulled them out in one piece though. Then I have a boa skin, shed skin. It doesn't stand up perfectly straight is the problem, but yeah. Then I have some cool rocks, piece of glass, the green one, and then this really cool ammonite, or I guess trilobite. I don't know what that is. It's really interesting though. Probably more of a trilobite, but either way, it's really cool. Or it could be something else. Some crinoids in the pill bottle and a shell. Then I have the ashes of one of my cats. I have a skunk footprint, 2 footprints from my cats that I did in Play-Doh and then dried, and then footprints in paint of a Asian small-clawed otter, then a little fisher or martin. I think it was a martin if I remember correctly, but I don't remember. It could have been fisher. Anyway, little sticker there. Belemnite rostrums, and then some fool's gold, some little figures. That's a really big scale. A button, that's a snake tail, and some really fine sand. Some amethyst, I think that's called a domino rock if I remember correctly. Then a peacock rock, and then a replica tooth. I don't know what that's from. It looks a lot like several things I found online. Then a turtle shell, and some various fossils and rocks and things. Little Dunkleosteus figure, some more fossils and things. Then I have a badger claw, and a little toad taxidermy purse, and a coyote claw, and then some other claws. Or no, those are coyote claws, and there's like a wolf tooth is that on top. Some pure copper, and then some more fossils and stuff. Then I have some paddlefish wet specimens of different sizes, 2 larger ones and 2 smaller ones. And then I have some fossilized jaws and some other bones back here. Then I have some cow bones from various ages. This one is completely stone. Then the rest of these are on their way to becoming stone, so they're all partially fossilized, except this one is fully fossilized. The back part of a cow skull, then I guess 2 sliced bones that were used for meat, so that was kind of cool. They were discarded, found them in a stream. Then a raccoon baculum, and the sacrum of a cow, and then some little bone art. Then I have ostrich feathers and a antique buffalo tooth, and then 2 different ornaments from Skulls Unlimited. I have a gemsbok tooth, a bone arrowhead, an ostrich eye sclerotic ring, and 2 raccoon jaws, a female springbok horn, and then I have some cat whiskers and some various bug things there, some shed skins, and then I have some shells. Then I have some rattlesnake rattles, a really big shell, a little sand dollar with some art on it, some cicada shells, another really big shell, then some random balls of cat fur from different cats I've had, and a really big pupa from a tobacco hornworm moth. and then some more small fossils and things. And then I have some various beetles of different sizes and types. Then I have Haplopelma minax, which is the Thailand black tarantula. And then I have the Brazilian rusty tarantula. All these cases are like fused together. They don't stack very well because they stick to each other apparently. And then I have the pink toe tarantula. Yeah, they just stick to each other. That's so funny. These two are like fused. And then I have two Eurypelma spinacris, which don't seem to exist because when you Google them, the only things that exist for it are the ones for sale. So I don't think they have a common name or even a real species, but that's what these are sold as. And you can see the big fangs on that guy. And then here I have all sorts of things. I have a bunch of things from the beach, some shells, some sand dollars, a ammonite fossil, some other fossils and things. Then I have a shell that was sliced, and more sand dollars, more shells. I have some sulfur and part of a crab, like an exoskeleton. And then I have a really massive trilobite. Then I have some little chunks of things. Big shell, little mantis figurine, which is really cute. Then a giant Pacific octopus beak and a reef squid beak. Then some more various things, some rocks and fossils. A smooth little circular rock, a little rock pet. Some other cool chunks of things and fossils. Cool colored rocks. Some shells, and then a bone fragment. Then I have some more rocks. So here's some mahogany obsidian, and then some mahogany obsidian arrowheads, a normal obsidian arrowhead, this little rainbow rock, and then some galena, some pink feldspar back here, and then some more arrowheads, and then some chunks of weird little fossils or something like that. Some cool rocks. I have some little bird figures, little chickadee and a cardinal. There's a bear. Then I have two chunks of amazonite, and then some various other cool rocks. Then I have a salt crystal, some fossils, and gems from various places. The gems here were from the Old Spanish Treasure Cave, and then these fossils were from the Dallas Children's Museum. Then I have some various gemstones that are polished from around the world. And I have some shark teeth. And then I have an Orthoceras shell. And then some little squid chunks from different prehistoric squid. And then that's what this one is. And then I have some crinoids and some various other things. There's a little hawk figurine, fossilized coral, and then some ammonites and brachiopods, and then a little peregrine falcon, some seashells of various types, an American kestrel. There's one with barnacles in it. Cone snails, which are really interesting because, you know, those guys are dangerous. And then I have a long-tailed weasel and some sand back there. Then I have some more fossils of various sorts, a bunch of shells mostly. Then I have some ammonites, some little beetle figures, a Cretoxy tooth, and some shells, some other shark teeth, a little otter figurine, some coral. This is not fossilized, this is modern coral, a little scorpion in a glass dome. Then I have some frogs. The funny thing is, every single one of these was in my room. They just somehow get in and then die and shrivel up without me noticing. So there's 4 in here if I remember correctly. 1, 2, 3. Nope, there's 5 in here. So all these just got in the house and died and shriveled up, so I kept them. Then I have all of my teeth from when I was younger that I kept. They're kind of gross. Then I have a whip scorpion. This is a vinegaroon. Then I have a black scorpion, blackish stag beetle, and a rhinoceros beetle. I have a little brown bat. Then I have some various bugs and stuff in resin. And then I have a wasp bracelet and a spiny spider bracelet, and then a scorpion necklace. And then I have 2 massive buckets full of cow bones and some various other parts of some different farm animals that I dug up on my college campus. So this is the skeleton that goes with the cow skull I have. And then I also have a second cow skeleton in here. This isn't the full skeleton, unfortunately. I don't have the whole thing, but here's a femur. And then we have scapula, another femur, a humerus, and some cannon bones, the tibia, the radius and ulna, pelvis. Anyway, a lot of stuff in there. And then this one has the vertebrae and ribs. So I actually strung through most of the vertebrae that are that go together. This one's part of a entirely different one, so not even the same individual. I have some tail vertebrae, and then I have part of a sacrum, the other part of the sacrum. I have a whole nother sacrum in here, and then I have all of these ribs here and some rib fragments. But then down here, this is most of the rest of it, all the bigger pieces. There's an extra jaw in there, all the leg bones that I have. So yeah, a lot of stuff in those 2 bins, and each bin weighs probably 70 or more pounds. These are super heavy bins because there's just so much bones. These are filled to the top with them. Then I have all of my bones from the sheep, which I don't have quite as many, but I still have a lot of sheep bones. That is all of these here. And that is it for my collection. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.